Phil Reimer is a travel writer who knows all about cruise bargains, cruise rules, and cruise safety. He spends a lot of his time sailing the high seas in luxury, a little foie gras, and gambling on the side. He is a semi-retired broadcaster who travels, blogs, and writes a newspaper column called Ports and Bows. It is my pleasure to welcome Phil Reimer back to Studio 4 to tell us more, the traveling sailor man back home.
You know what? I like the way you describe it. I do like the casino at night. I must admit. I like from a fellow in Edmonton that happened to be traveling. He and his wife, we got to be friends at dinner. And it turns out he is the blackjack expert, the best teacher I've ever met. Not a professional, but he really knew the game. So every night at 9 o'clock, he and I would hit the blackjack table for 1 hour, and he taught me. And at the end of the cruise, I won the entire pot, $800 because of his training.
That's why you're such a wealthy man.
No.
At heart, you're a gambler.
I spent that before I got off the ship.
Okay, why not? What are the rules around, can you gamble in port when they open the casino?
No,
don't
you're
open the casino?
supposed to be in international waters. And I'll tell you why several of the cruise lines have canceled Bermuda for this year and for next year, because they're in port for 3 days, because it's New York, Bermuda 3 days, back to New York or Boston. And the Bermudian government has not allowed them to open the casino, and so much of their revenue, 40% of the revenue comes from on board, drinks, food, clothing, that gambling.
Right.
And so now all of a sudden the Bermuda government has said, we better look at this. So they are meeting right now to talk about new legislation to allow the ships to open the casino in port.
Okay, and speaking of decadence, apparently there's a new package, I think I read it in your column, a new package or a proposed package about the all-you-can-drink package.
$29.95.
All you can
for
drink?
Beer and wine.
Well, they don't know us.
Yeah.
They're not making money on us.
The Vancouver squad, have
Apparently
they?
not. So $29.95. All you can drink, like top scotch and everything?
No, just beer and wine.
Oh, beer and wine.
And don't forget they get it's duty free, so it doesn't cost them a lot. And it's going to be in Europe and Asia. It's not going to be in North America.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Well, why does it? Because I always think the Europeans are a little saner about booze, but maybe not. Who knows?
We'll find out.
You know, on everybody's mind,
yes.
What is on everybody's mind today, and that is the sinking, the listing, the sinking, the near
call
sinking.
It a sinking. Yeah.
Call it a sinking, pretty much, of the Costa Concordia off the coast of Tuscany.
Yeah. Basically, the things that I've looked at in regard to that ship, and that's the Costa when she's upright, and there she sits, and you can see the proximity to land. From what I've read and what I've heard, and I've talked to some cruise experts that I know that know the ship, said, you know, there was some right things done. First of all, it was wrong to run into that rock. That rock is on the charts. They have electronic GPS. They've got electronic charts on the bridge. They've got paper charts on the bridge. I mean, they still navigate by electronics and the old-fashioned way. So there's a backup to everything. And that rock has been on the charts forever. It's always been there.
It has. So the reef or the rock, it's always been there. The ship was too close to shore, obviously. She says, being the coastal pilot.
I think what happened when somebody saw the rock, because people have said there was a turn before they hit. So I think they attempted to avoid it. And if you look where the gash is, it's further down the ship. So I'm assuming the back end swung around when they tried to turn. And the smart thing they did was move the ship to shore. If you're going to go down, be on the rocks and be as close as you can, because it was only a 50-meter swim.
Do you know if there's an Italian coastal pilot, like there's a BC coastal pilot, when a ship is in foreign waters, or? But they were in Italian waters, Italian ship.
Yes, but they were 2 hours out of port. So the port pilot would have left the ship at that point.
Of course.
It would have been under the command of the captain, who was on the bridge. How many more were there? There should be 3, but how many more were there, I don't know.
And we don't know for sure if he abandoned ship too soon or if he stayed to the end. There have been controversial reports.
But I think it's coming down that however it happened, they were way too close to shore by the sound of it. And every serious person, not the passengers, but people who know those waters, said he was way too close, and local people said they had never seen it that close when he was going by.
Probably human error, don't know, human error at some point.
Costa's blaming the captain already. They come out with a statement saying it's his fault.
Right.
And so you have to look back at Costa. How do they train their captains? How do they train their crew? Is it a training problem as well? So there's a lot.
Or a navigational problem, but still human error. Whoever was looking at that, or it could be mechanical.
There's a little mud on their doorstep before I think they're blaming somebody too fast on this.
Who owns this? Carnival?
Carnival owns it, yeah. Yeah, the stock's down considerably. But every one of the Carnival cruise lines, like Princess, Holland America, all owned by Carnival, all of their ships run independently. In other words, there's management and staff for each of the cruise lines, and they're trained individually as well.
As size of ships goes,
pretty big.
4,200 on board, that's a lot?
That's a lot, yeah. She's built for 3,700, so a lot of people 3 to a room because you take children, that sort of thing. So it's like a Disney ship always sails at about 150% because there's usually 4 to a room.
500,000 gallons of fuel. I don't know what the environmental
it
scene
doesn't
looks
appear
like,
to be near the tanks. From what I can tell, they should be able to drain the tanks. It does not appear to be near the tanks. And I mean, this is very early in it, and it's nighttime over there now.
What is concerning for all of us who travel the high seas, even to Victoria, is that the safety measures are in place. The emergency rescue is in place. Somebody actually knows how to get to the lifeboats and drop the lifeboats, and because people panic, of course they do.
Yeah. And you know, part of the problem is like on an airplane. How many people listen to the safety drill on an airplane? You're always right into your magazine. I'm guilty of it from time to time.
Sure.
But what I've done on a ship, and I think everybody should do that, once you go for the muster drill, and by the way, there was no muster drill before she left port. We do know that. There was no muster drill. They had planned to do it the next day. Why, I don't know, but that's going to be a factor as well.
You bet.
But usually when I do a muster drill, the lifeboat, let's call it the lifeboat drill, I usually try to track, there's my lifeboat, then I walk back to my cabin, and I try and remember the route I took up the stairs to wherever, back to my cabin, and remember that if anything goes wrong, I turn right out of my cabin or I turn left. Because you're starting to panic at that point. So just memorize the route from the lifeboat back to your cabin.
Exactly, and the lights could be out. Anything could happen.
Yes.
Also, language barriers.
Yes.
Big.
Absolutely. I mean, when you talk about Costa, it's an international line. There were, I would think the foreign complement on board was probably about 3,000. English speaking might have only been about 1,200 on board. So English might have been the second or third language used by the captain or the crew.
And I know it's supposed to be women and children first, even in this day. But I doubt, that it's not me first in that situation.
There are lots of stories, and how much is made up because of the tension of the moment and the panic of the moment. And I guess we really have to sit down and see what happened. But this could be a wake-up call for the cruise lines to say, okay, I bet every cruise line today is looking at their safety, their training. I saw something on a Disney ship in Germany last year that I had never seen before in another ship. I looked up on the top deck, and here's this window. It looks like a mini cabin, a mini bridge. And I said, what is that? And it's called a safe return to port. In other words, if anything should happen to the main bridge, all the instruments, fire, whatever, the captain and his officers can go to the mini bridge and still get the ship home. I've never seen that before, but apparently we're going to see a lot more of that.
Apparently we are. The outfall for the company, for Carnival.
Yeah. A lot of questions are going to be asked, a lot of questions. And just, one death is too many, but we're so fortunate that the ship was moved to shore after the gash so that when it did sink, it sank on the rocks and didn't go all the way down.
And that some people are strong swimmers. I don't know how cold the water is there. I suggest we all travel with a dry suit.
That's a thought.
Why not?
That's a thought.
That's a thought.
I don't know if I'd remember to put it on, but it was only 100 meters to shore, so a lot of people did swim.
Sure, and I'm not a swimmer, so I always think
about that.
You do the
dog paddle?
Not that well. I should travel with a dry suit. And if you're in cold water,
yeah.
if you capsize out here, hello, how long do you have?
Yeah,
Not
the
long.
Mediterranean's a big difference than our coast. It's a lot warmer.
Certainly is. Okay, so adventures on the high seas, Europe.
Yes,
You
I was
just
there
returned?
for a grand total of 72 hours. which was no fun because it's 3 degrees. It was raining, it was windy, but I was on a ship, but it was docked for 3 days, so I didn't have to worry about it. I went to see the new Disney ship. And what is happening is we're starting to see more of Disney's Imagineering on the ship. I mean, all the things, you know, that's one of the restaurants. Disney does something that no other cruise line does. They have 3 restaurants. So you move with your family every night. I've never used a bathroom shot on your show before.
No.
But this is so good.
Well, there was no one in it.
It's gone. Oh, there it is back again.
Okay.
Somebody used miniature tiles to make this piece of art, and I thought it is the finest ship's bathroom I've ever seen. I couldn't resist shooting it.
It's better than the train bathroom, I have to say.
There you are.
Well.
But anyway, what Disney does different is their Imagineering department moves to Germany for the 3 years, so they are constantly developing. But they have a thing called, they do 3 restaurants. So your wait staff moves with you every night to the 3 different restaurants. And they're all fun, they're all different. Now they've come up with one where the kids will draw their favorite drawing, doesn't have to be Disney. They'll hand it in to the waiter, it goes into a computer, and while you're having your dinner, your character comes alive with all of the Disney characters, and your character starts dancing and singing and the whole works.
Who knew? So animation at its best.
Animation and technology, that's the thing on cruise lines. Change the color, make day into night, and that sort of thing.
So if you don't want all those bells and whistles, you want elegant, small.
Yes.
What line, where to go?
Yeah, there's 2 that are in the 800 passenger category that I would put in the deluxe category, and that's Oceania and Azamara. And those 2 cruise lines that are about 800 passengers, except Oceania has a new ship now, 2 really, Riviera and Marina, at 1,200 passengers. So if you want that elegant, not so much on the entertainment side, restaurant choice, that sort of thing, well, that's the kind of ship you want to go on.
And what about lineups? Lining up for everything on a cruise ship.
You really don't have to that much anymore. Just time everything. It's like using your computer on the ship. When everybody's on at 5 o'clock in the afternoon attempting, don't forget you have one source of one satellite in.
Right.
So I email in the morning before breakfast, and I email later at night when I have to send the columns and the blogs back to the Vancouver Sun. I do that at times when I can send everything.
Because you're a seasoned cruiser, as they say. The New Orleans cruise, well, not really. I didn't mean cruiser. You know what I meant.
Yeah, I know.
New Orleans, the cruise industry in New Orleans. You were down there, what, about a month or so ago?
Yeah, it's starting to come back. I mean, they were hit so hard by Katrina. All the cruise ships abandoned, except for a few abandoned the area. Now there's 3. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a real start. They've rebuilt a terminal there. And New Orleans is so good. I mean, the thing I like about cruising more than anything else is where the ships leave from, because I always go 3 days early. So I go to New Orleans, Venice, Barcelona, London, 3 days before the ship goes, because that's the best part of cruising.
Oh, especially in New Orleans,
New
and
Orleans,
the Big
great.
Easy.
Yes.
On the Bourbon Street, and then the French Quarter, and
well, you know, that's where the tours are. Luckily, the local reporter for the Times said, "Hey, Phil, here's where you got to go." So he let me know all the great spots in New Orleans.
Go have a beignet over there.
Yeah,
oh no,
right.
It's an amazing city, and music and rhythm. It's amazing.
Yeah, I really believe that it's where the ship leaves from. A lot of ships are leaving from New York. What a perfect place to go for 3 days before you get on the ship.
And the ports of call are fun, and it's all good, and that makes sense. What about repositioning cruises? Next time we'll talk about that.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to.
Because can you get a little seasick?
You can sail for $39 a day.
I like that.
All in.
All in, $39 a day to reposition. Okay.
Yeah. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you, Phil Reimer.